What's up, y'all? It's Jahmal Cole from My Block, My Hood, My City. We are in Brighton Park for Kitchen Table Discussions, episode two of 77. But pull up a chair. We got a seat for you at the table. Again, we're in Brighton Park. I'm going to let Patrick, the head of Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, tell you, more about the community, where we're at, all the hidden gems, all the artful intersections, all the community roots. We're about to learn today. And obviously, you can travel the world without leaving Chicago. Let's go.
I'm doing everything I can, everything I should, lifting up the people like I promised I would. Cause this is my block, my city, my hood. The real J. Cole got your back in the hood. I walk the streets where the stories breathe, where every crack sidewalk's got something to teach. Kids on the corner wave when I roll through, cause they know I'm out here trying to guide them to the truth. This ain't just pavement, it's the place that raised me. Every brick, every beat,
So,
every
for people
dream
that don't know who you are, tell us who you are and what brought you to live in Brighton Park community.
Yeah. Well, my name is Patrick Brosnan. I'm the executive director of the Brighton Park Neighborhood Council. So we're a community-based organization serving Brighton Park primarily, but also several neighborhoods throughout the Southwest side, basically South 555. I moved to Chicago in 1999.
Okay.
My now wife, she got accepted to Loyola University of Chicago for a PhD program in clinical psychology. And so we had both just graduated from University of Michigan, and I wanted to learn about community organizing. I wanted to learn about immigration and work in an immigrant community so that I could, my goal originally was maybe I wanted to be an immigration attorney.
Got you.
And I applied for a bunch of different jobs. Brighton Park Neighborhood Council was a new organization at the time. It was about a year and a half old, and there was only, I think, like maybe 3 staff.
Gotcha.
And they hired me.
Wow.
So
you went to University of Michigan?
I went to graduate University of Michigan. Yeah.
Sorry about this weekend, man. I'm sorry.
What can you do?
Brighter days are coming, though. Brighter days are coming. I like that quarterback. I like that quarterback. I used to love the University of Michigan. That's the only university that my dad liked, and he watched them on TV.
All right.
Right. And so I was like, always the blue and gold, and I'm always Charles Woodson, and always like Travis Best, the running back.
Yep.
And yeah, man, I didn't know that it was so hard of a school to get into, though. I was like,
yes, it's very competitive, especially for people out of state. So
yeah.
That's
Okay. So
I'm from Michigan originally, so moving here to Chicago was it was a really amazing decision. And like I said, I was originally thinking I would go to law school, but I just kept getting new opportunities, and with BPNC, it kept growing.
Wow.
Lots of new, different changes, different things, around all the different services that we started providing.
Yeah.
And it just was very exciting. And the board of directors offered me the executive director position in 2007.
Salute.
And so I've stayed.
So you've been doing community organizing before Obama made it popular.
Yes.
I think
sure.
So how did you know there was a thing that was like community organizing? What did you study?
Well, I actually studied, I had a double major in religious studies and cultural anthropology. And so it's really nothing related at all to community organizing in any real way. But I just knew about community organizing through a variety of different, like just learning about it in college and reading about it. And I thought that this, for me, it wasn't really about organizing so much as it was about working in a community and working with people who were newcomers to this country or children of immigrants and trying to create better opportunities for the community.
Wow.
And so Brighton Park really created that opportunity for me.
Pat, look, and this was in what year? 2001, 1999?
This was, my first job was in 1999.
Okay.
And then I stayed, and then I became director in 2007.
So in 2025, I feel like hardly anybody speaks English in this community. So I can imagine what it was like in 1999, because you can walk into a grocery store and English is the third language.
Well, so when the neighborhood, one of the reasons why BPNC was founded was because the neighborhood had changed so much in the 90s. So it went from being a predominantly white ethnic community, a lot of Polish, Lithuanian immigrants after World War II, and before that, German and French and Irish immigrants, to being a predominant Latino community by the end of the 90s.
Okay.
And that happened because people were moving here from back of the yards. They were moving here from Pilsen because of gentrification.
Gotcha.
They were moving here from Little Village because Little Village, which is the gateway Mexican community or gateway community for Mexican immigrants.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doubled up in those houses. A lot of families, like multi-families,
Okay.
living in under one roof. They're saving money, and then they'd be able to, get their own place. And so
Okay.
they'd started moving down to Brighton Park.
Nice.
And as the kind of white ethnic community began to, a lot of people moved away, and then a lot of senior citizens, started transitioning, and so there was housing, and so that's why people moved here, and so. Now, what that meant was this was a very, very new community. This was a community that was filled with people that still left to go back to church. They left to go get any services. They went back to their original neighborhoods that they were moving here from.
Uh-huh.
We were not yet a gateway community, right? We were not yet a place where people were, this is like the first place they were moving when they moved to Chicago.
Got you.
This was a neighborhood that had changed. It was also one of the fastest growing neighborhoods in the city, and it was one of the youngest neighborhoods in the city. So there was a lot of stressors
Gotcha.
on the institutions, the community institutions, and there really was no social service infrastructure at all. So Brighton Park Neighborhood Council was founded by a group of community leaders who wanted to not only hold their elected officials accountable because they were not paying any attention to the community, they were not doing anything they were supposed to do,
Yeah.
but also to really build a sense of community because there wasn't one. It was a brand new neighborhood. So
It's amazing.
that's why BPNC was founded.
Okay.
And, then in the early 2000s, originally we were just doing community organizing work. So we were just doing work that was focused on identifying community leaders, helping, develop their skills as leaders and help them organize campaigns to hold elected officials accountable, hold public institutions accountable, and bring more resources in the community.
How do you do that? How do you find like a somebody that wants to that has the skills and the talent and wants to arouse the enthusiasm? How do you find somebody like that?
Sure. Well, I mean, in a lot of the ways that you think, you go to where people are.
Yeah.
You go to churches. You go to schools. You start talking to people.
That's awesome.
You have a sense of what some of the issues impacting the community are because, like, we had a board of directors already. We had a core leadership team
Yeah.
from the neighborhood that knew what was going on, and they wanted, so they understood some of the issues that were impacting the neighborhood. But also, I was hired as a street organizer. I just went out and door knocked every night. I door knocked 4 out of the 7 nights a week. We door knocked every weekend.
Man, y'all listen to this. All the young organizers, you cannot cut no corners. You gotta fall in love with the neighborhood. The best way to do it is by door knocking. So I started organizing in Chatham, where I used to put there's Victorian style homes, ranch style homes, brick bungalows, manicured lawns, and like I started to recognize the different types of mailboxes. I was out there knocking on so many different doors, but
That's right.
I fell in love with my neighborhood, and through that flyering, I don't know if a lot of people ever came to my speeches, but the people that saw me out there flyering ended up becoming part of my tribe, and I started to fall in love with the neighborhood and want to advocate with it more because I had that I wasn't cutting the corners. I was doing more than expected by getting out there and knocking on those doors. And so I love to hear that you actually have built the muscle memory it takes to make a difference. That's dope.
Well, that's what you have to do. You have to build from the ground up, from the grassroots, and put people in the position to kind of lead their block and lead their community. And that's what we did. And then in the early 2000s, as we're door knocking and talking to people, 3 things came up all the time.
Wow.
Affordability came up, unfortunately, violence. And the third was my kids have no place to go. There's no services here for my kids. So we knew we had to start building those services. We began, by talking to other nonprofits and trying to say, we'll partner with you. We'll try to, we'll get fundraise with you. If you could expand your services into Brighton Park. But that really isn't the way it can work. You got to really start from the ground up. So we began providing direct services in 2003 One of our major initiatives, which carries on to today, is called our Full Service Community School Initiative.
Full Service Community School
Initiative, right. So we began partnering with Burroughs Elementary School was our first. It's on 35th and Washington, 36th and Washington. And we began partnering with the school to provide after-school programs for all the students in the building.
Okay.
So we provided after-school programs and also for students, but also parent programming. So we had ESL classes, English classes. We had GED classes. We had computer classes, aerobics and fitness classes for parents. It became a place where parents were gaining their own leadership skills as well, but they also it became a real community hub, a community center. We don't have a community center in the neighborhood, so this was like the community center.
Gotcha.
Was at Burroughs. And then we got invited by the Chicago Public Schools because we were so successful with our first partnership. So CPS invited us to begin a new partnership with Kelly High School, which is now Kelly College Prep.
Yeah.
So that was in 2005. Okay.
So you just walk into the high school and say, "Hey, you know, I'm Patrick. You know, I'm with Brighton Park Neighborhood Council. I want to make the neighborhood better, and I want to work with students and parents." And how did you?
No, it's a real partnership. So it began. This was actually through an initiative called the Campaign to Expand Community Schools in Chicago. So community schools is a model for community partnership in school buildings.
Okay.
And so it was actually, we had already been doing a lot of youth organizing at Kelly with Kelly students. So we're very familiar with the school administration and with several teachers in the building.
Got you.
But CPS was able to get some additional funds, private and public funding, and provide them to Kelly. And then we were like the lead partner that comes in. So very similar to what CPS and CTU designed with the Sustainable Community School Partnership, which now we have a Sustainable Community School Partnership grant with Kelly.
Okay.
So very similar, where the partner nonprofit, helps staff the management of the after-school programs, coordinate the programs, hire the teachers. Sometimes the teachers still work for the school. Sometimes the teachers work for BPNC.
Got you.
We bring in external partners. We bring in other types of services like clinical services. So we have at Kelly and at Burroughs, we have case managers. We have clinicians, mental health clinicians that are working with students that are struggling with their mental health. We have a homeless prevention case manager who's working with families that are unfortunately housing insecure or maybe on the cusp of being homeless. And so we're working with those families to not only find them stable housing and make sure they have stable housing and access to benefits that can stabilize their housing situation, but also develop an economic plan with them, develop a workforce development plan, an education plan for the parents to help them achieve their economic goals.
Well, who are you, man? Like this is you do a lot.
We have a big staff. Our staff, we grew BPNC from when I first was hired, we had 3. I think I was the 4th staff, but we were paid, nothing, and we were just out there doing the work. In 2007, when I took over, we had 7 full-time staff.
Okay.
And now we have 76 full-time staff.
Man, that's cool.
We have about 100 regular part-time staff working at the schools, working in the community, doing safe passage work, doing work, to help organize. Like we have an amazing team of health promotores de salud. They're out there doing.
What's called promote? What's that?
Promotores de salud. Yeah, of course.
I'm getting on you about that. Though.
Yeah. Well, it's not perfect, but it's good enough.
Yeah, they try to get me to order my food in Spanish across the street. And I'm like, they're very, very kind people, but I'm like, man, I don't really know how to do it. But I can say gracias now. I can say the grande coffee con crema o azúcar. Nice. They taught me that. And also, I feel like a little kid when I go to the store. They put me on the spot.
Learn how to say where the bathroom is, and you're set. You got everything. You're set.
Okay. Set. I got a few questions I want to ask. Sure. I feel like I want to get you on your way. I don't want you to keep you here forever. But Brighton Park. You want to put the food here too? So I don't want to put it here just so we can get them shots.
Nice.
This is going to be pretty much kind of corny, but Brighton Park, describe the neighborhood in your own words.
Family, and it's hardworking. Okay. It's a community that is connected to each other. We are a neighborhood that is struggling, under attack right now.
Yeah.
By this federal invasion.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing my whistle, because of you, man. I saw you rocking it. I've been wearing this since I've been in Brighton Park, since I met you the first time. But so just let's go into it. So they say that ISIS has left. I don't know if they've really left, or if they just hiding, or if they live in the Airbnb. I don't know what. Don't say that. Shout out to Airbnb.
So when we were, we've been. I mean, before Midway Blitz began. So this is over the summer. It was more ICE engaged in kind of targeted raids, knowing where certain people live and going after them. Still doing some random arrests, but not like what we saw during Midway Blitz.
Okay.
So Midway Blitz, I don't know if they've said it's ended or what, but certainly, I mean, one of the things I think that's clear is that they don't have enough people to do it in every place where they want to do it. I have my own opinions about what they're trying to do. Like, I personally believe, like, they're in Memphis right now, and in Tennessee right now to impact the election. There's a special election happening, and they're terrorizing people from the polls. And in addition to some other things that I think they're trying to accomplish. Here in Chicago, I think it's really about testing the limits, pushing as hard as they can, and trying to create a rationale for them to be able to do this in many, many cities. But they have moved out, and we're expecting them to come back. That's what they're saying, is they're going to come back.
Yeah, I heard they was offering people like to pay off their student loans or give them signing bonuses.
Yes, all those things are happening. But I also know that they're not meeting their quotas. All that they're saying about, they have 400,000 applicants or whatever bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm going to swear. But it is, and it's not. So, we know that they're draining the federal prisons. There was just an article about this like last week, where federal prison system is in a crisis situation, a staffing crisis, because so many federal prison guards have left to go to ICE and Customs and Border Patrol because they can't find outside people to take those jobs. So, I mean, I know that that's a major, it's a major issue, but they also have more money than the Israeli military has. They're now like the 4th or 5th largest kind of military force in the entire world. And
where are we getting the money from? Is it the SNAP benefits money? Is it?
It's coming from all the places. They are taking money away from hardworking people, and they're moving it into the most destructive program, not only for communities, not only for immigrants, but for our entire economy. And I think that that's something that people are waking up to. They're starting to understand. We were talking. We helped organize the Southwest Rapid Response, which is an amazing team. Thank you for doing that. It's an amazing team of leaders, community leaders, who are dedicating their time to trying to defend the neighborhood from ICE and Customs and Border Patrol and other federal incursion, and also connecting victims, so connecting families of victims to, helping them know that their family member has been detained. So, we can't intervene, we can't stop it, we can't prevent it from happening. But that's why we're filming, right? That's one of the reasons why we're filming. That's why we're asking for people's information before they're getting detained. In those chaotic moments when someone is being attacked by an ICE agent or a Customs and Border Patrol agent on the street, which I've personally seen and had to film, unfortunately. And you're asking, what's your name? What's your address? Try to get whatever information you can get from them, because you need to be able to tell their family. Because their family might not know. They just won't come home one day. And it's because they're in detention, or they're at Broadview or wherever. So the family needs to know so that they can activate other legal resources and other types of services to help, hopefully get their loved ones out of detention. We're also filming, right? Because it's documenting crime. All of these arrests are illegal. They're against what's called the Nava settlement, which is a consent decree signed by the federal government
Wow.
because of a systemic pattern of abuse and violations of people's civil rights, of immigrant civil rights. So a
You are
judge
aware,
has,
man.
well, I know, but a judge has ruled in our favor, and they're using the data that we're collecting and giving to our attorneys to document these abuses. Because when they just jump out of like 3 cars and just throw a person on the ground and put their hands behind, don't ask them any questions, and throw them in the back of a car and disappear them, that is illegal.
Chicago's police department is under a consent decree right now.
Exactly right. That's right.
Black and brown people. But I want to ask you, what can people do in other communities that are saying, hey, I might live in a different part of Chicago and I don't see any ICE agents, but I want to get involved. How can people help? How can they get involved? What would you suggest they do?
Well, I would definitely check out the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant Refugee Rights website. They have a family support network. They're collecting funds if people want to donate. If you have the means to contribute, all those dollars are going to go towards organizing resistance and providing direct support to families who are impacted, and to help support rapid response networks like the Southwest Rapid Response. Southwest Rapid Response, we have our own fundraisers that we're doing, but also, we've been overwhelmed by neighbors from outside of our communities that have come in and are not only helping, picking up a shift, getting trained on how to do rapid response and supporting in that way, but also getting their church involved, helping to put together little packets that include whistles, that include Know Your Rights cards, that include any information that can be used by us when we go door knocking and canvassing and talking to neighbors on the block, to make sure that they know ICE has been here, Customs and Border Patrol have been here. These are what your rights are. This is what it looks like. But all that information we've received like hundreds and thousands of little packets, and that's all been created by different people, church groups and whatever, that have just adopted our community in that way. So these are the things you can do.
I love it. I really
also, by the way, sorry to interrupt. Call your congressperson. Make sure they know that, and call your senator. Call our senators and make sure they know that you see what's happening, even if it's not happening in your community, and that they need to be held that they need to be held accountable to this, right? And call the local. We're not super thrilled with the way Chicago police have behaved in some instances where they're we believe cooperating with ICE or helping to coordinate certain things with ICE. And we have, the police board, we have other, the aldermen need to know, people need to know that the community is fed up with this, that Chicago is fed up with this, and that, we're not going to stand for this.
Man, I love the passion. I'm about to go whoop somebody's ass with you right now. I feel like I'm about to shit.
No violence.
I feel like I'm ready to storm the streets, man. But hey, I thought it was awesome the other night where she said it's called the Southwest Rapid Response Team. They were out and they were all the businesses that were impacted by ICE.
Right, exactly.
Like hopping from business to business to business to support them.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I mean, this is what's so important about community organizing. And this is what's so incredible about the leadership that has been exhibited by the Southwest Rapid Response Team when they come together, when people who don't know each other, but they come together and they build a relationship with each other, dedicated to the community, dedicated to the defense of the community. And then they start thinking about other things they can do. They start thinking about other ways of supporting the neighborhood. And so some people had some ideas to support. There's some small business owners that are part of the Southwest Rapid Response. And they said, our businesses are struggling. Wow. And so that was brought to the table, and the team said, let's figure out a way of supporting it. And they organized this amazing business night where they went out to all the local businesses, and it was a little bit of a fundraiser as well for the rappers. Some of the businesses contributed portions of their sales that night to the Rapid Response Team. Cool. All that money is going directly to families who are impacted. Wow. But it was an incredible night, and these are the kinds of things we got to keep doing, because, and this is what I meant by the current immigration policies. being disastrous for our economy, not just preventing people from going to work, scaring people away from leaving their house, scaring people away from the stores and from the local businesses. But local businesses don't have their employees are scared to come to work, but also customers are scared to go to the local stores and the local restaurants because they have seen footage of ICE and Customs and Border Patrol just jumping out at people in the middle of the street as they're walking to a business, walking to a laundromat, going to, and all these things have an impact. Not to mention, our agricultural system, not to mention big businesses that are being raided, not to mention factories that are being raided. Like everyone heard the story of the auto plant that got raided down south where they just illegally detained, a few hundred South Korean people, engineers that were here to help set up a plant for other Americans to come and work at. And all the construction ended. These things are having an incredible deleterious effect on our economy, on everything that's in our country is being reshaped in ways that we don't understand right now. But people in Chicago are getting it. They understand what's happening and they're fighting back. And so we have to continue doing this work.
I love that. I love that about Chicago. We love this city. The city reflects who we are, and we have a responsibility to make it what we want. And so, thank you. I got a couple more questions to get you out of here. So, Patrick, if the mayor, city council, and state leaders were sitting at the table right now, having some food with us, what would you tell them that Brighton Park needs right now?
Well, we need, there's so many things. The first thing we need is more funding for our schools, more funding for our parks. We need more funding for all of these public institutions that are serving the majority of our families in the community. We have suffered through 15 years of budget cuts in our schools. And we need way more resources invested. Another unfortunate situation is we've had, because of the ARPA cliff. So, when COVID was here, we had a lot more federal investment and there was a lot of programs and services that were being funded through those dollars in school-based programs, but also community-based programs that include, community violence intervention programs, that include workforce programs for young people, year-round jobs, programs like My Shine, My Future, and other programs. And unfortunately, we've seen big cuts for youth programming like that. And so we need to figure out a way to get those resources back invested in our community. We have seen fortunately, we've seen a decrease in violence, which is amazing. It has a lot to do with the incredible success of these types of interventions and programs. And so when those dollars go away, when those programs go away, what are we left with? Another thing, in our community, affordability is a major issue. Housing is becoming is becoming out of reach for a lot of families in Brighton Park that have lived here for 10 years, 15 years, and now rents keep going up.
Got you.
And we have to figure out a way to support renters and homeowners that are trying to rent their property, but we need to figure out a way to make things more affordable, make housing more affordable, not just in Brighton Park, but in areas around the city, obviously.
This is heavy, man. Some heavy stuff.
These are major issues that are impacting lots of communities in Chicago.
Absolutely.
But working class communities need these types of kind of big institutional, statewide, citywide support. It's not just going to happen just in Brighton Park. When I was talking about, violence being a problem, things that happen in Little Village, let's say, or Gage Park or Back of the Yards, they happen in Brighton Park. Brighton Park's right in between these neighborhoods. So a lot of times the way the city has kind of organized these programs and this intervention is it's like there's like 6 or 7 communities that get a lot of those resources.
That's what all the mirrors are saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is that, and that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
when you think about it in a certain way. But street involved youth, they move around.
Yeah.
The organizations move around.
Yeah.
They're not just in one area or another. And what happens in one area that can have a ripple effect. The bullets don't stop at the border of the community.
Yeah.
They keep going. And so we need to have kind of regional approach to this, that where we're thinking about not just kind of where specific gangs are and specific neighborhoods, but how does an entire region of the city, how can they be impacted by these interventions? And I think those are the types of things we're looking for. I mean, we have health issues, health concerns. We need way more resources and investment in Medicaid and health programs. So there's a lot. If we had everyone sitting around, and luckily, I mean, we've had great meetings with the governor. We've had great meetings with we have great relationships with our aldermen now.
Yeah.
Our alderwomen.
I saw the mayor on TV the other day in Brighton Park. He's at a grocery store here.
Yeah, that's right. At Whittle.
Yeah, you guys put the signs on the windows, letting ICE know they're saying
that's
there's
right.
space for y'all to come in.
That's right. I mean, we've been working with the mayor's office since he became mayor, and we continue to want to work with him and want to make sure that his administration is incredibly successful, but also understands the needs of the Latino community, understands the needs of the immigrant community. And I think his administration has done a really good job of making those connections.
Yeah.
But we need more resources.
Got you. All right. One more question I want to ask you is, anybody that wants to ask, a question online can log on online and ask a question. We'll make sure we get it to Pat so he can answer your questions for you. What is the hardest part about it's leadership? What is the hardest part about your job that people don't ever recognize or see?
Well, I would say that the hardest part of the job is understanding. I mean, we have so many different elements to BPNC. Mm-hmm. We're providing direct services in the community, in the schools, all around the southwest side of Chicago. Mm-hmm. We are providing, also we're doing a lot of community organizing work.
Yeah.
But, we can't do everything.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when we're faced with needs that can be unmet. Some of these issues are, especially like, let's say around housing issues, there are some campaigns and initiatives being organized in certain parts of the city or at the state level, but they don't really affect the kind of housing that we have here, which are like single family homes or like we're kind of at the start of the bungalow belt. So it's a little bit of a different housing stock. We don't have a lot of big buildings with multiple, with 50 apartments or something like that.
Yeah.
So knowing kind of what the issues are, but sometimes being unable to address those concerns, it's hard. It's hard to be faced with families that are haven't left their house in 3 weeks because they're concerned about being detained. And I think another thing, my staff carries a lot of kind of secondary trauma, as they say, supporting families, working with families at the worst times of their lives. And I think being able to continue to create a space and an organization that's not only addressing the needs of the community, but recognizing that our staff are the community too.
Yeah. I felt that when I walked in.
And continuing to have opportunities for them to grow, but also try to meet their needs at a personal level.
That's dope.
It's these things are daunting, but this is what running a community organization is all about. It's about recognizing that there's no distance between the community and the organization.
Yeah. It's
all one, and we have to be able to when we're addressing the needs over here, it includes the needs of our staff and the needs of everyone who's a part of the organization. So.
All right, cool, man. Last thing, what's your favorite place to eat in Brighton Park? So give us a couple of spots that you like to check out. You told me Paco's Tacos.
Paco's Tacos, that's a mainstay. We like De Nuez is great. Mexico. There's a new place. It's kind of newer. Mexico, Colombia is really good. There's,
Okay.
there's some great food trucks on Archer. Some Venezuelan food trucks. Pretty
I heard
good.
you gotta start talking to I think the Gina at Party per Purpose. She was telling me you want to get the Somali trucks or Somali guys. You got to get there like 8 a.m.
Oh yeah, Rosa's tamales is always good.
Oh, I went over there the other day.
Rosa's is fantastic.
I went over
You can
there
always
the
get an amazing tamale there, and I mean, there's so many amazing restaurants and just amazing family-run establishments that are here, you know, and I hope everyone comes down to Brighton Park, take advantage. Archer Avenue, we're getting new bike lanes. Everything's going to be exciting. So
Well, you heard it from Cool Hand Luke himself.
Yeah.
Well, no, man, your passion is unmatched, bro.
Thank
For real, it's a pleasure sitting
same
down.
to you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Episode 2, kitchen table discussions. Pull up a table. We got a seat for you. I think we headed to Hegewisch next month. Don't know what's out there, but I'm interested. The communities of my classrooms, the people, our professors, and the exams or whatever they got going on that I can volunteer with. So thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good day.
My city, my hood. I'm doing everything I can, everything I should. Lifting up the people like I promised I would. 'Cause this is my block, my city, my hood. My block, my city, my hood. I'm doing everything I can, everything I should. Lifting up the people like I promised I would. 'Cause this is my block, my city, my hood.
Thank you. Super great. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it.